This is the single most dishonest photograph you're going to see for a long time. It comes out of Bessemer, Alabama. Look at the headline. Unsupervised children cause safety concerns at Bessemer Theater. An honest headline would have said 150 black people were fighting, threatening, harassing, causing mayhem at a local movie theater. And oh yeah, that's been happening at movie theaters here and movie theaters around the country for a long time. But look at the picture. We just see a bunch of white kids doing nothing except getting candy and obeying and being peaceful. And that illustrates a story about a large group of black people causing mayhem. That's down in Bessemer. You know, I was in New Hampshire for the primary a week ago. And what's it called? The Union Leader, the newspaper up there? So the publisher wrote a column about the New York Times. And the New York Times were sending a photographer to illustrate a story they had already written. So he wanted some art, they call it. He wanted some art for it. But when the editor set the instructions to the photographer, somehow they copied in the subject of the story, the editor/publisher of the paper. Anyway, so the guy at the New York Times is telling his photographer, saying, listen, we're doing a story about this newspaper in New Hampshire, how it used to be a great paper. Now time has passed it by. Nobody reads it anymore. They're just a bunch of losers and everybody hates. Really saying whatever they said. And whatever they said, it was not necessarily true, but very explicit about how that picture was going to turn out. So the editor gave the guy a bunch of instructions about it. Listen, get some pictures of him, next to the old artifacts in his office or next to the old whatever, to kind of highlight the fact that time has passed these guys by. Okay, the guy at the Union Leader didn't get too upset or anything, but he took some delight and good for him in finding out their little plan. And when the photographer showed up, he just waved the email around and escorted him out the door. So my question is this: how much editorial guidance were the reporters getting before they wrote the story? After all, we now call people with cameras photojournalists, correct? That means they should be able to show up with their camera, record what they see, and take it back and say, here's your pictures. But that's not the way it works. And that's not the way it worked in Bessemer, where we have the single most dishonest photograph, at least of the year. Let's give it an Academy Award. Best Photography of the Year. Dishonest pictures about racial violence department. There's probably 3 or 4 stories in the Bessemer area about what happened that night. Not that many details in the stories, but in the reader comment section, there are tons and tons of details from people who were there, described what happened, described how it was all black people. There were no white people involved in the mayhem. The people that run the newspapers don't give a damn as long as they can ignore, deny, condone, excuse, encourage, and even lie about the level and the sickness of black mob violence and black on white crime in this country. That's why we're doing this video. That's why I wrote Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. That's why I want you to share, like, subscribe to this channel. That's why I want you to get and read Don't Make the Black Kids Angry. Give it to somebody. And when you're done watching this video, send it to someone and say the most devastating thing you can say. And this is what it is. Did you see this? This is Colin Flaherty reminding you, if you're heading down to the theater to see the Deadpool, which had a bigger opening than The Matrix, or any of the other movies that are out now. I went to the movies on Valentine's Day. I couldn't even get in, so somebody's going to see the movie. So if you go on a time of day, maybe it's not quite as crowded, a holiday not quite as crowded, just remember one thing: Bessemer and everywhere else, don't make the black kids angry.